Right then folks, we're going to do the maintenance on the FX. I'm sure there's lots and lots of videos online about how to do this, but a couple of people did ask me, so here it is. And we're going to start by shutting off our inlet and outtake pipes. And after that, very quickly after that, we're going to shut off our filter by unplugging the socket. You have to hold the clip in to take the pipe off. You do get a wee bit of water spill out. Even with that excellent locking system, there is a few centilitres of water to account for, so you do need to be mindful of that. A wee towel will dry it up easily, but if you've got electrics in the same cupboard, we need to take caution a little bit. Holding a towel underneath the pipe when you remove it will mitigate most of that. You can just wipe up any splashes that you get. With that done, we're free to remove our canister filter, and this is why the FX is so good. Not only does this FX2 fit into the cabinet, it's much lighter than the FX6 and the FX4, so easier to move about, isn't it? While I am here, I am going to take the opportunity to label my plug, because I've got quite a few plugs underneath this aquarium, and sometimes even when you try and commit it to memory, you do forget. So labeling it up is going to be a big help in the future. It's just going to help me identify which is which. So we'll take it up to our cleaning area, our sink, or in my case the tub, where I'm going to do my rinsing out here. You can see by releasing the catches and lifting the lid off, some water does leak out, so you want to do it in a place that wee bit of spillage isn't going to matter to you at all. And once we have removed the top, we can start looking at what we've got inside, and we can already tell the sponges have collected a fair amount of waste. So we're going to take them out of the way, right, and get to our biomedia. And I really do appreciate the way the FX system is split into different sections. It does mean you can concentrate on each one individually, quite handy. Take out the biomedia from the top section and throw it in some tank water. Keep it nice and wet. And then we can use the lift handles to pull all the media baskets out. On this particular filter, I'm not counting the sponges as part of the biological filtration. There's plenty of biomedia and plenty of biological filtration going on in the tank, so I'm going to treat them separately. But having a quick look, you can see the outer edges of the sponges have collected far more waste than the inner ones. Really good the way this works, isn't it? I had been concerned that the sponges around the outside of the media baskets were far too coarse, but they seem to be doing a magnificent job of trapping the waste. Right, we'll set that to the side then and look at the bottom media basket. Again, it looks like the sponges have done a great job of collecting the waste. And we're going to pull out the media, the biological media, give it a wee swish in the water that's left in the filter, and dump that into our bucket of tank water. The water in the canister filter isn't going to be wasted, by the way. In fact, let me show you what I'm going to do with that. It is totally full of nitrogen and all sorts of goodness that your house plants and your garden plants are going to really appreciate, and it's going to help to make them thrive. So I'm tossing it in my Japanese acer that I'm trying to grow out, and my courgettes that I am thinking is a nice way of feeding my plecos. Let me show you what this looks like, in fact. So we'll grab what's left in the filter and give it a wee shiggle, and then we'll pour it in this wee jug, and you can see it's like a fish waste gravy, filter gravy if you like. Wee bit minging, isn't it? But like I said, your plants are going to love this stuff, so don't waste it, folks. Pour it on your garden, pour it on your plants and your favourite shrubs. Do a good turn for them. Anyway, back to the job of cleaning our filter, and what we're going to do is pull out the sponges that are all around the outside edge of the media baskets and give them a rinse out. Like I said, don't really consider it part of my biological filtration, so quite happy to use tap water. It's just a matter of squeezing them out under the flow. See how much muck is coming out of there, can't you? I'm not really trying to get every single molecule and tiny piece of fish waste out of them. Just trying to tidy them up enough to get most of it out, and to the point it's going to start grabbing particulates out of the water and holding them inside it again. Give you a quick comparison between the sponge that I've not really put a lot of effort into squeezing out and the other one, and you can see how well these Fluval sponges trap the waste. This is after 2 months, by the way. This is the first time I've cleaned this filter out after 2 months. And you might consider I should have done it sooner, but I really don't think I should have. People complain sometimes, don't they, how long it takes to clean out a canister filter. Well, if this is all you've got to do every 2 months, 6 times a year, it's really not that much. With a lot of hang-on back filters, or any other filter for that matter, you're doing your maintenance a lot more frequently than you're going to do with this. I will add, I think I can service this whole filter, if it wasn't for filming it and all the extra time that takes, I think I could service this whole filter in 20 minutes. Bearing in mind, it is a decently stocked tank, a planted tank, and I'm quite a heavy feeder, as I said before. 20 minutes to service this whole filter 6 times a year, I don't think that's too much effort at all. Pop the sponges back in once you've given them a quick squeeze out, and realistically that's the bulk of the work done. Obviously I've still got the other media basket to do, but it doesn't take long for each one. It really doesn't. There are other things you can do if you're being particularly diligent and feel you need to, so we'll have a quick look at them. For example, you could remove the pump housing, which is a case of just unscrewing 3 screws. You might want to check that your impeller shaft is still intact, but after 2 months there's literally no wear and tear on that, and there's no gunk collected around the magnet. You might want to fetch your cleaning brush and give the impeller chamber a wee bit of a clean out, but again there's very little waste collected in there. I'm putting that down to the intelligent design of the filter. I'm going to say that's a 6 monthly, if not annual job, so we'll just pop that back in and replace the casing. I like to work my way around the 3 screws a wee bit at a time, just to make sure it's nice and even as it's going back together. You might want to make sure that your intake is nice and clear, particularly if you're a planted person. Sometimes leaves do find their way inside, but it comes in half pretty easily with a wee clip each side. And you might want to pay attention to your pipes. I have another video that I will link about cleaning filter pipes, but I'm not necessarily sure it's relevant to the FX range, partly due to their design, partly due to the diameter of the tubing. In fact, I'll show you what I mean. Hold on. When you first put your filter back on, it's gonna blast some of the waste that's in the tubes out of them, right? Makes a mess of your tank, but it's cool because this FX works so well that it's gonna suck that up pretty quick. Another feature of this FX filter is that it runs for a wee minute, turns itself off, purges all the air to the top of the filter, and then blasts it out again, right? So what that is going to do is push all the waste contained in your pipes out of them. Most other filters, in fact any other filter that I can think of, doesn't have that facility, right? So gunk builds up inside the tubes over time, but this is constantly clearing that gunk out. It's constantly shifting all the debris that gets caught in the pipes, and then when it comes back on, there we go, shifting it all out again, isn't it? Like I say, it does make a mess in your tank. It does make a bit of a disaster area for a wee while, but within an hour or two your FX is going to pick that up again, and it's all going to get trapped in the sponges, isn't it? Not only does it do that when you first put the filter on, it also does it every 12 hours. So it's constantly clearing out that waste and purging the pipes, which I think is fantastic. But anyway, we skipped a step there, didn't we? Before we turn the filter on. Obviously we've got to get it back together. The trays fit together perfectly. Just a matter of putting everything back together, and then we're going to add our lifting handles. It's just a case of slotting them in the bottom and then clicking them into place. However, there is a right way and a wrong way of doing that, which I will demonstrate here. So if you put them backwards, you can see that's not going to work. They are curved to match the inside of the canister. So if you put them the wrong way around, it's not going to sit perfectly. So we need to make sure we get them the right way around. But it does make it so easy for lifting the media trays in and out of the unit. Next we replace the lid, and it's pretty obvious which way it goes round. Again, they just kind of click into place, and then to secure them, I like to work my way around the whole canister, doing a wee bit at a time, slowly turning each one finger tight. That's all you need. Touch tight, I suppose you call it. You don't need to use all your strength and all your energy, making sure that they are super firm. But I've just realised something here as well. The clasps are easy to unscrew, but they are so well designed that you don't need to be the strongest person to get a firm tighten on them. I think they've put far more time and effort into them than I really understood at first. It's the small details we miss sometimes, but really well done, Fluval. Anyway, get your filter back in position, connect the pipes with their interesting locking system, open the valves, turn the power on, and you should be good to go. If it doesn't start perfectly the first time, I've got a nice little trick to starting the canister filter, which again I'll link in the description below and a wee card at the end. But pretty easy, isn't it? With a lot of filters, I do like to have a wee feel about every couple of hours or so, just to make sure there's no leaks. But honestly, I've had no worries with this at all. As you can see, it does a great job of keeping this dual 450 clear and clean. The servicing regime that I just did on this FX2 is going to be exactly the same for the FX4 and the FX6. However, it appears that the FX2 has all the filtration power of the other models, only in a slightly smaller unit that's going to fit everybody's cabinet. In that case, if you're looking for a video on how to service any of the FX filters, I hope this was useful. I hope my maintenance video for this filter has been of some use, and if there's anything you think I missed, any other tips, feel free to put them in the comments below, when we'll all help each other out, won't we? That's what it's all about, isn't it? Otherwise, I think I'm probably out. Later.